Alolan Vulpix won the largest official Pokemon tournament of all time. Yes, this cute little Pokemon managed to overcome over 1500 other competitors to claim the title of European International Champion. Alolan Vulpix was paired with other powerful Pokemon like Arceus VSTAR, Duraludon VMAX, and Drapion V to create the ultimate meta counter deck. As competitors prepared for the European International Championships, there was a new challenge ahead of them, with the release of the Scarlet and Violet set, and this being the first tournament where the cards were legal for play. On top of that, the format rotation took place, which means a lot of the stable cards in the previous format were no longer allowed in the tournament. Tournaments with such a format had already taken place in Asia, and everything seemed to indicate that Lugia V-Star, Gardevoir EX, Lost Box, and Mew VMAX decks were the decks to beat. Alex Szymanski was able to come up with a completely new deck that contained hard counters for all 4 of these decks, and this ultimately led to him being crowned champion for the first time in their Pokemon career. The deck might seem a little unfocused, but it had an answer to every powerful deck in the format, and this is how each of them were used to obtain the title. If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Potan Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 20% off for your superfoods at Amaranthi. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. Alolan Vulpix V-Star was utilized to hard counter the brand new Gardevoir EX deck. Almost every single attacker in Gardevoir decks has an ability, which means once Alolan Vulpix V-Star attacks with Snow Mirage, it will prevent all damage done to it. The game is effectively over for them, as their only attacker left, Cresselia, is not good enough to deal with the high HP and damage output of Vulpix. The only other way the deck can try and bypass the Alolan Vulpix is through the use of Ralt's Memory Skip attack, which allows you to choose one of the attacks of the active Pokemon and prevents its use the next turn. This forces the Vulpix player to find a way to switch onto the bench and then back into the active spot to KO the Ralts, which is easier said than done. If they do manage it though, it's game over for the Gardevoir player. Seeing how Gardevoir EX was the 4th most popular deck in the tournament, Alolan Vulpix V-Star was a great inclusion that ultimately led to Alex's win in the finals against Tord Reklev. Duraludon VMAX was a hard counter to Lugia V-Star decks, which rely on powerful special energy cards to power up their various Pokemon through the use of Arceus' Primal Turbo ability. However, every combination of attackers prior to the tournament didn't feature any way to get past Duraludon VMAX's Skyscraper ability. At the actual tournament, the most successful Lugia decks were using their own Duraludon VMAX as their counter to opposing Duraludon VMAX, but without that, the game was pretty much immediately over once a Duraludon VMAX hit the field. During Alex's run towards the European title, they faced 4 Lugia V-Star decks throughout both days of competition, 3 of which did not have any answer to Duraludon VMAX. As Lugia V-Star was the 2nd most popular deck in the tournament, Duraludon VMAX was a fantastic partner for Arceus V-Star. Drapion V might as well say I wanna KO Mew VMAX on the card instead of all the unnecessary text. Playing 2 copies of this card, along with 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Lost City Stadiums, and a higher than average count of draw supporters meant that Alex's deck was extremely well prepared to push through Mew VMAX's attempt at disrupting an opponent's game plan through the use of Judge and Path to the Peak. With only 1 copy and no way to recover it, getting past a 2nd Mew VMAX would actually not be easy for this deck. But with 2 Drapion V, the matchup is a breeze unless you get the worst luck possible. With Mew VMAX being the 3rd most popular deck, this was another great meta call. Even if Alex only played against 1 Mew VMAX deck throughout the whole competition, having a free win against it is always welcome. Finally, even though not a hard counter per se, but very powerful nonetheless, were the 4 copies of Lost City. These helped eliminate Pokemon on the Lost Box's player side of the field permanently, by sending them to a Lost Zone after they have been KO'd. Most Lost Box decks try to play a variety of attackers and rely on utilizing Clara to attack with them again once they have been KO'd, but that is impossible to do while they are in the Lost Zone. With 4 copies of Lost City in the deck, against the usual 2 Stadium cards in Lost Box decks, eventually you run them out of attackers. Combining Lost City with the high HP of all your attackers means you have a very good Lost Box matchup overall. Lost Box decks were the most popular deck in the room, with over 20% of the meta share. Alex ended up playing against 4 Lost Box decks on their path to victory, defeating 3 and tying 1. During Alex's run, their only 2 losses happened on day 1 against Hisuian Gudra and Arceus Giratina. Opposite to the other matchups where there is a clear path to victory with a specific set of cards, these decks require you to power up your Pokemon and outlast theirs. Nevertheless, Alex had a flawless run on day 2. They had no margin for error whatsoever, yet they ended up winning 9 rounds in a row in order to become champion. As the metagame continues to develop, Alolan Vulpix V-STAR is now less powerful given it's on everyone's minds after such a monumental win. Basically the whole deck is. However, that is the nature of counter decks. They work really well when they're the least expected, and they're at their worst when people know about and prepare for them. Gardevoir EX decks are already playing extra ghosting effects or even Path to the Peak to bypass Alolan Vulpix, and Lost Box decks are favoring the turbo version of the deck with Dragonite V, which can even 1-KO an Arceus V before it can power up other attackers. Will Alolan Vulpix V-STAR feature in the top card of another major event? I don't know, but crazier things have happened in competitive Pokemon. Hopefully this video helped you understand how such an underused and underrated card was able to win the biggest Pokemon tournament to date. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment if you found it useful or if you think there's something I overlooked. Until next time!